guys, welcome to today's Limitless Agency team call. Just went through a bunch of exciting updates. Just went through a huge end of October production month. We have convention now right around the corner, and we're only 2 months left from wrapping this thing up for the year and having a record year. Both as an agency, we've had more Hall of Fame producers ever this year, and we have a lot of people. 14 people are still in the race to hit the coveted Red Jacket Hall of Fame. So super excited. Today we have the Ethos account rep, Marty Evans. He's going to kind of go through everything Ethos, some really cool things they're doing, and specifically the new Ameritas IUL that is exclusive to Family First Life for the next year. And kind of go through how that product works and why we've been loving that as an agency. So Marty, welcome.
I am thrilled to be here and even more excited to just help be a part of everybody's business. We really want to be the digital arm of your agent's life insurance businesses, and that's what I'm here to talk about. I will take questions at the very end, but if you have questions as they come up, drop them in the chat and I'll be happy to get to them, and then we can have it free-flowing at the end. But I'm excited to jam today.
Let's go. And if you guys have any questions, if you guys can put them either in the chat to everyone or put them in the question box, that way it's not just to myself and Marty and everyone can see it. So
yeah, sounds good. So shall I jump in?
Let's get to it.
All right. I actually have my primary presentation is going to be focused on the actual IUL product, but I wanted to start off with just who is Ethos, what do we do? When I actually interned at Starbucks, one of the things they said was, we're not a coffee company. And when they said that, I was like, what in the world are you talking about? You're clearly a coffee company. They're like, we're in the people business. We just so happen to sell coffee. And similarly, Ethos, we're actually not a life insurance company. We're definitely not a life insurance carrier, but we are a technology company that works with carriers to make the life insurance industry a revolutionarily simpler, more transparent, and just easier to use process for you as agents and your clients. And this is exactly how we do that. So as you see here, we actually started off as a direct-to-consumer company. So our digital acquisition has been matured over tens of thousands of different data points of experiments with what font to use, what color to use, what message to say, what call to action to include, what tone to strike. And these are all tools that are available to you in all of the marketing collateral that we make available. Our application process, it's about 10 minutes. Here's answering simple health and lifestyle questions. They're reflexive. So if Hayden says, yes, he does participate in extreme sports, the next question is going to be, is it skydiving? Is it base jumping? Is it deep sea diving? And using the information from that simple survey, it feeds into our underwriting engine. And in about 10-minute end-to-end process, you're able to get coverage for your clients. It's if you have a phone, a tablet, laptop, desktop, your client can get coverage. And we're able to cover up to 95% of applicants, because with one application, you're actually being considered for 8 different products. And that's because we use hundreds of thousands of data points. There's no medical exams ever. So your clients, you don't have to worry about being able to offer your clients up to $2 million in term with blood draws or urine samples. It's all with the technology that we've developed to make that as easy as possible. And your clients can handle, policy administration directly from their account. Quick glimpse at the whole in term before I dive into the IUL. This is a quick overview of what our whole in term looks like. We're able to cover so many people because it's like a waterfall approach. We consider your client for the term. If that wouldn't work, then we consider them for the elevated risk products and so on and so forth. So we have both term and whole life policies going up to $2 million. And we're able to cover a wide range of clients too, given these different products. If you have more, interest in these products and how to find out more about them, if you go to your portal, your agent portal, which is available at, just drop it in the chat, agents.ethoslife.com. You're able to log into your portal and you can see under the quick resources, the second thing that you'll see will simply show you the list of all of our products, knockout guides, and all that good stuff. So take a look at our whole term offerings. But today, the name of the game are those 3 magic letters, IUL. So let me jump into our IUL session. we've been working on this product for quite a while. And the thing that gets me most excited about this is it's literally built, as Hayden mentioned, for you. This isn't something that any agent can just get access to. And it's also not something where it's like, hey, we've been in business for all the years and this is the box you got to fit into. This is also dynamically being improved based on the feedback that you give us. As an example, this launched October 2nd. I believe today is November 2nd, which means in a month, we have already rolled out future dating. That was something that we launched it and agents were like, yo, Marty, how you expect me to sell this when I can't future date a policy? I was like, noted. I'm going to get this over to our product team, get this to our eng team, and we've already rolled that out. Also for green card holders, because you do need a social security number, we're able to offer coverage to them, which is something that we previously weren't able to do when we launched just 4 weeks ago. So the more feedback you can pump in, the better. Now, with that being said, let's jump into what we're going to be discussing today. So the overview of the actual IUL product, how to sell more, which is something that's always top of mind, what the actual application flow itself looks like relative to the competitors you might have grown accustomed to, and then finally, what that end-to-end process looks like, as well as resources to help you through that, is what I'm going to knock out today. So with that being said, top of the house, the IUL, first and foremost, helps you focus on what is most important, which is focusing on protecting more families, plain and simple. So in terms of focusing on selling, not trying to wrangle really hard to use software, that was one of our first and foremost considerations, because it's critical that you can focus on what's most important and not be distracted with stuff that's just hard to use. We're targeting a 90% instant decision, which means you'll be able to simply make that one call close a reality, and you can sell it wherever you can get the internet and have those instant decisions where those conversations don't have to drag out over weeks or days and a bunch of back and forth. We've got a great comp headed your way where you're getting paid the day after the effective date of the policy. And this is 100% bonusable, which is also something that you might not be that used to with your IUL offerings, but we worked hard to try and make that happen.
Awesome.
With $1 million max death benefit, you can cover those clients that previously wanted more, but you weren't able to cover with what some of the competitors stopped at. We've got no cost riders headed your way. And then, of course, this is powered by the financial stability of Ameritas, even though you have to go through Ethos in order to access this product. So please don't hit me up like, Marty, I wrote like the biggest policy ever and I didn't get paid on it. And I say, where'd you do it? They're like, I went direct to Ameritas's website and I logged in and be like, no, you got to go to your Ethos portal. Even though it's powered by Ameritas, you have to access it through your Ethos portal. So I can't belabor that point enough, because I want everyone to get paid.
Yeah. And guys, if you're a new agent, or for some reason, if you don't have Ethos for whatever reason, or access to the Ameritas IUL, after this, send me a message, send a message to Luis, your admin. We'll get the link sent out to you guys and get this thing. And Marty, this thing has been approved in agents like 1-2 days after they submit. So super quick.
Yeah. And I'll show them where exactly in their portal they can initiate that flow. So that's great to know. If there's one slide, and I know sometimes you get presentations, maybe you get reps or different companies here, and you're like, I watch all of these slides. If there's one slide that I want your attention on, you can screenshot, you can whip out your phone. It's this slide, because it's answering the question, how and why we believe you can sell more Ethos versus the competitor you might be used to. So I'll let everyone take a moment and just capture this slide. It's got 3 real buckets of reasons that we see this as the reality. 1, it's a quick and easy to use platform. 2, we're able to expand the coverage options versus competitors. And then finally, we've got unparalleled sales support that we will be offering to you with this product. So first category, easy to use platform. Everything from quoting to actually applying is on one platform that could be easier to use. This is relative to that fragmented experience where you've got different things that are in different places, and it just can be a hassle to try and get through your sales process in one place. With that being said, it's about 15 minutes from quoting to decision, and this is relative to what often is the case, which is like a 45-minute process. Now, you don't have to be a math whiz. I came into college thinking I was going to be a math major, didn't quite work out. But I do know that if I could take 15 minutes to get from quoting to decision versus 45, I can simply have more appointments. I can protect more families. I can get paid more. And then finally, you get illustration access, as I'm going to show you in a few slides, some screenshots of what it looks like while you're actually going through the quoting process. You don't have to go elsewhere to retrieve that to show your client what the future might look like. In terms of more coverage options, that face amount going from what you might be used to is 300,000 is the most that you can offer, up to $1 million, means a lot of those higher income earners that are, more comfortable with higher premiums, we're able to give them an offering that they can still have and express a quick experience with. And having more risk classes than just the binary tobacco or non means we're able to cover more people and give them a price that is reflective of their actual, risk. And then automatic rerouting, this is a big one. Rather than someone goes through an IUL, they go through the application, and there will be declines, but rather than going through that process and then just seeing, sorry, it's a no, and then you just have to tell your client, thanks for trying. But like the guy, like Jeff from Survivor, when the team loses, he's like, sorry, I got nothing for you. And you just like go home. We actually reroute you to the True Stage Advantage whole life product, which is also instant decision. And as of mid-September, so making sure word gets out there if you don't know yet, we actually increased the comp on this product by 30 points throughout the hierarchy. So no matter where you are in terms of uplines or downlines, 30% more on that product. So you're still able to give your client a pretty competitive opportunity to get a whole life coverage, even if they unfortunately were declined from the IUL. And then last but not least, I'm the tip of the iceberg in terms of agent training. We've got many resources in your portal. We've got client materials that I'll touch on at the very end to just also bring up the conversation of an IUL, since it can be a little intimidating to just bring it up, since it's not as straightforward as a term. I pay for 20 years. If I don't die, then that's it. We've got materials that break it down in terms of things that they're used to. All right. In terms of availability, since I see that's a question in the Q&A. So Gavin, we are not able to cover under 20 just yet. So the age limits, as you can see, are 20 to 50 for that $1 million face amount, and they scale down to the age 65 at 350K. In terms of state availability, you don't have to remember this list. When you just go into your portal and go to Quoter, it'll simply gray out the states in which we're not available. Like we just got Florida on the map, so that's something that actually we need to update on this. But you just go in the portal. Unfortunately, even though I'm literally in California right now, California is not yet available, and it just has to do with the speed of the regulators, but we're at their mercy on that. So as soon as that's available, we will make sure everyone knows. But there are just a few states that we're not available in yet. And then we will not be going in the island of New York, just because that's its own beast. I see a question about index allocations. I will certainly get into that. And I promise I didn't plant that question. They didn't know that this was the next slide, but there are 6 different accounts you'll be able to choose from. 2 that are based on the S&P 500. One is a 1-year. The second is a 2-year. We have 3 volatility controlled index accounts. And I can get into depth with these. I can show the floor, the max illustratable rate. I can show all those at the very end in the appendix. But we've got those 2 from the S&P, those 3 for volatility controlled, and then 1 just like fixed return account that you can choose to allocate your clients' funds. We've got those living benefits. That's one of the things I get the most feedback on, is like, we need living benefits to help with the sale and also to give the client something that they really want. And so I'm excited to be able to finally say, yes, I've got living benefits for you. We've got that accelerated death benefit, as well as the critical, chronic, and terminal conditions. And then finally, we've got a lifetime income rider. So if you want to lock in your cash value and turn that into an income stream once retirement starts, we make that a possibility as well. Now, you might be like, well, Marty, you've got all these cool, sophisticated ways of speeding things up and making the process really easy. Is it going to cost an arm and a leg for my clients to afford this? And the answer is no. Remember, we're a technology company. We're using technology to also cut costs wherever possible. So as you can see, in some examples, we're a good bit actually cheaper than leading competitors. And then in other places, we're within a few dollars of the premium. So you should expect pretty competitive pricing for our products. It's really a good offering for you to take advantage of. I do see a question about underwriting guideline, and I'm actually going to take this as an opportunity to just show you where, even right now, if you wanted to follow along with this presentation, where you can go. If you go to the following URL, just go to ethoslife.events/FFL IUL recordings. So that's ethoslife.events/FFL IUL recordings. I've already prepared for this call a nice little Google Drive slot where I've got a full training that's recorded. I've got the slides that I'm literally going through right now. I've got a knockout guide and an agent guide that will show you pretty much all of the information that you need, including the underwriting guidelines for how this product is determined. So take a look at that. You can, follow along with this presentation.
Marty, can you copy and paste that link in the chat?
That link? Yeah, sure thing. ethoslife.events/FFL IUL recordings. That's where you can get all of the materials that I'm literally going through today.
Perfect.
In terms of how do you get contracted, if you already receive a text message or an email from Ethos, we don't just get a marketing list of all of your contact. We actually get your information from FFL in order to set up an account for you, which means if you receive that message, you're already set up with, or you already have access to Ethos, the platform. With the IUL, you do actually have to do pre-contracting. With whole and term, you can sell the policy right now. With the IUL, you actually do have to do pre-contracting, but we actually make this as easy as possible. When you go into your portal, you just click on quoter and then start an IUL quote, and you'll see a little pink box that'll say what steps you need to take, if any, in order to get contracted. So with this product, as with all products, you do need to be life licensed in the state in which your client is applying. And then with the actual contracting, you can actually save a completed app. And then we just hold that until you get your contracting request submitted and approved, and then we send it. So it's not like you have to do this and then wait a few days before you can have a client's call. You can have a client's call right after this meeting with the IUL, as long as you're able to log into your Ethos portal. And then you'll just see contracting request submitted, pending, you're good to go. And then that's when we submit that app. The only exception is with Pennsylvania, you do actually have to be contracted in order to complete an app, but you can still save a quote. So if you have any Philly fans out there, then you can actually go through that process of having the conversation, showing them what it'll be. And then while you're waiting on that contracting, they can already have that quoted information there for you. I do see one question about, can clients do their own app like you can with the whole and term with the links we send? The answer is no. At this time, at least, this is something that, since it's a more sophisticated product and we're also learning as much as we can from you, the agent, you can only complete these applications via the agent-assisted application where you're putting in their information for them. But if that changes based on feedback, I will be the first to let you know if clients can do it on their own. In terms of comp, we've got that great comp headed your way. I don't know each person's individual comp, but I do know how to find it. You just log into your portal and you go under the earnings tab and then just click on your commission rates. And that's where you can see what your specific compensation is, both for this product and all Ethos products, since we just pipe in the information that we receive from FFL. Now, I want to get leads in the pocket. I heard Hayden mentioning lead credits and, fueling up the tank so you can keep reaching more families to protect. We want to do the same thing. And so after each activation for the rest of the year, you get $150 in leads emailed to you the week after you activate a policy. It's that simple. We want to keep the flywheel going. The more you protect, the more you can protect. So this is an incentive that's been going on this quarter that I would love to have the problem of someone saying, we're just giving out too many leads. We didn't think we'd give this out. And that means we're activating more policies than we expected. So let's make that happen. We want to help fuel your business, and we want to do it as quickly as possible, which is why this is an exciting promo.
Yeah, we found out about the lead promotion thing like 2 weeks ago. because
Mm.
an agent was like, I just sold my first one and I got like 5 leads. And I think it was they sold 2 out of 5, like literally the day they got leads. And they're like, where can I buy more of these? These are amazing. And so that's a huge perk, guys. Not only do we, sell the client a great IUL, we get paid next day, but then we also get money to reinvest and make more sales and just keep it going. So
Wow, that's amazing. Quentin's question, do we get paid on annual premium or target? It's actually the lower of the two. So if you've got, a really high annual premium and target's a little lower, that's what you get paid on, or vice versa. We also, I mean, a lot of sweepstakes or a lot of things that you can get are, be the top agent to do XYZ and you get this really great prize, which is wonderful. And it's, it's sales, it's competitive. But to be honest, I mean, Steve Giordano, that man's on something else. I don't know how that man sells so many policies. The great thing about this car is it's the top 50 agents are in a raffle. So as long as you're in the top 50, you've got the same chance of pushing something that looks like this. Once you get in that top 50, it's a 2% chance that you're going to have a new car. And we actually are going to have some fun with that. We very well may be sending out a survey to see what type of car agents would like to have, so that you'll get to put your fingerprint on what it is that one of your teammates will be driving. Now, there are persistency requirements for this. So that's, again, where you can look into this deck later if you want to see this, but it's simply minimum of 12 in planned annual premium. And we're expecting that to be about $1,800 per policy. So it's not that many policies. At least 90% paid through the first premium, and at least 93% that did pay that also pay through their second premium. So not too much there, which actually meshes well with our persistency bonus that we're actually launching in the month of November. It's 25% bonus. So you can look out for that soon as well. I'm going to pause and look at the questions, make sure we're, or that I'm getting to the ones that come through. Looks like, where do you see the target premium? Admittedly, it is in the not easiest to find place right now, but I'm going to show you where you can see it. And then I'm going to update you all when we do move it to a new place, because I've talked internally after getting agent feedback, like, this is like a secret Mission Impossible place to find this. It's findable, but it is in code, and we're going to make that easier for you to see. The reason why we did it this way is because we don't want that popping up on your screen while you're presenting, because a lot of clients share their screen, and then the client's like, hey, what's this number? What's going on? But I'll dive into that in just a moment. Here's what the flow looks like for the Smart Solve, as we call it, on the left, versus what you might be used to with one of the competitors' products. And as you can see, we just try and make it as smooth and streamlined as possible on the left with multiple policy configurations. There's 5 different configurations that I will go into depth on in a couple of slides. And the illustration looks like what you see on the left, where all of the important information is in one place. You can see the illustration, you can see the quoted amounts, you can see what inputs you use, such as, was it the premium you were solving for, the demographic information at the top, the index allocation at the bottom. It's all in one place, versus you can see on the right where you got to hop and find what you need in one screen. But good design doesn't use a blanket approach for everything, So when we do want to get your client's attention focused on one specific thing, that's all you're going to see. So if you're sharing your screen and you're trying to walk a client through the application, when we want to know, or when we need to know what state they were born in, that's the only question that we have on the screen, which can help you stay in control of the sale. Versus on the right, you can see that would probably get my attention hopping all over the place if I'm looking at all of that when I'm trying to just get, as an agent, the client's information to answer one specific question. Now let's look at what it looks like end-to-end, quoting to applying. If you're logged into your portal, you can follow along with me right now. Once you log in, and we actually just launched a redesign to this because a lot of the Limitless agents with whom I've spoken said they do a lot of final expense. So we actually separate, so you can now quote whole separate from term. And so that's, based on the feedback that we got. So your screen might look a little different than this, but in general, all you're going to do is just click on Start Quote for the IUL. Once you do, you're just going to click on this Knockout Impairments, or you could do that right now. That's also loaded in that Google Drive folder that I created for you all. You really want to make sure you're comfortable with the knockout guide, so you can just send the best clients, or the clients for whom this will be the best fit, they're the ones that you're going to send through this application process. You don't want to send someone who, for instance, if they've applied for more than 4 life insurance applications in the past 12 months, and that's not counting Ethos carriers. So more than 4 non-Ethos life insurance applications in the past 12 months, they're going to be knocked out. So if you already know that they've done 6 applications, you can just save both of yourselves the disappointment. So I'd recommend feel comfortable with the knockout. What can we and what can we not approve for this product? And once you're through that, then we can basically hit the ground running and get to the quoting. Now we've got 2 different types of quoting. We've got the Smart Solve, which is going to be your happy place for probably 85% of your clients. And then we've got the Advanced Solve, where you're putting in a few more parameters to give them exactly what they want or what you've discussed and have determined would be best for them. If they're focused on monthly payments and affordability, then you can focus on the premium. So you're just going to, under Smart Solve, you're just going to click premium. It's a slider, so you can show them how that would change. Or you can just click on, there's a pencil here, or you can just type in the amount directly. And then if you are instead working with a client who wants to know, well, how much will my family get? You can go to coverage, and it's that simple. If you do have the other 3 policy configurations are a little more involved, Advanced Solve is where you're going to go. If they're focused on max cash value and they don't care as much about the death benefit, then that's what you choose. On the other hand, if they're focused less on the cash value and more on what is that death benefit payout going to be, you click max protection. And then finally, if they're focused on the payout throughout retirement, then you're going to go with max retirement income.
Quick question for you, Marty, on that slide.
Yeah, go for it.
So maximum cash value, if I'm understanding that correctly, that's clients getting the most cash value upfront within the first couple of years of the policy, versus the third one. Is that going to be less cash value upfront, but then more once they get to that retirement age? Or
so it's actually both are, so the first and the third are very similar. It's actually going to be max cash value over time. However, the retirement, drawdown is what gets illustrated with the max income possible in retirement. It's just showing I'm going to build up to a point where, let's say retirement is 65. We're illustrating how can we, take out the most and basically ensure that throughout retirement, versus just let's try and maximize cash value, even if that means around retirement age, there's, more volatility or something like that. So it's really just if you have someone that's retirement focused, then the latter. And if they're just focused on what's the most this can get to, maybe I want to borrow against it at some point, but I'm not as focused on taking money out of the policy in retirement, then you choose the first.
Got it.
All right, so you're putting in all of that information, and then you can see what it looks like. This is that key information that you'll be able to get out of the policy quote. And then if you want to zoom in even more, you've got a client that's asking really specific information, then you can click on this little icon here to see the full ledger of what will the future look like by year. So you can get both the guaranteed and the non-guaranteed values on your screen as you step forward in time. What that looks like in terms of surrender value, death benefits going to stay as it is. And if you would like to make changes to your policy, this is a very important point. Although this is an Ethos, product, it's powered by Ameritas. So any post-issuance servicing, like if you want to change something, that's done directly with Ameritas, which is different than your normal, whole and term where we're working with, or your, LGA policy that you're working with Ethos on. This is actually, you are the agent of record for these IULs, and you will work directly with your client or with Ameritas for that. Gavin asked a few questions. Where can I find, cash withdrawal, limits on borrowing, things like that? Well, if you go into that, let me share my desktop instead of my screen so I can just toggle really quickly. If you do go into your that link that I sent, Ethos Ethos life.events/FFL IUL recordings, then if you look in that agent guide, and this is also available in your portal, if you hold on one second, typed in the wrong link. Ethos life.events/FFL IUL recordings. There we go. So if you go into this folder and you click on the Ethos IUL agent guide, that's where you'll be able to get all those questions answered, Gavin. So if you want to look at, what do loans look like? What do fees look like? Withdrawals, all of that stuff's inside this agent guide. So that should answer those questions for you. All right. And so let's say that we instead want to go from just looking at the ledger to actually looking at the full illustration. Then you can simply click on the illustration and download it. And this is answering that question of where's that target premium. In the illustration at the bottom of the page, I know it looks like a Mission Impossible. This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds. But at the bottom, the numbers before the slash, including the pennies, that is what the target premium is. We're working on where else we're going to put that, but right now you can find it just in the illustration. It's at the bottom of each page. And so in this example, you see 238652 and then a slash. If you go back to, that's where the decimal point would be, and that's what the target premium would be. So that's where you can see, the monthly premiums in one place and then the target premiums over there. But feedback received, it's hard to find, but now you know where it exists for the future. If you click download policy highlights or download illustration, you get the illustration itself and the actual policy highlights. This is a wonderfully simple document. It's about 5 pages long, and you can get all of the good stuff. You can get the customized highlights for your clients. So it's just the stuff that they need. It's colorful, it's easier to read rather than, the text on text on text that you get in full illustrations. Now, in terms of riders, if you click on advanced parameters, if you click on riders, you can see all the riders that come with the policy, including this perks rider, which is the estate planning tools that we provide. So in all states except for South Dakota and Washington, you're able to get our wills and trusts, advanced healthcare directive, power of attorney. All of those forms are included actually with your policy. And I know a lot of life insurance products are purchased without having that comprehensive end-of-life planning conversation. This is something else that you get to differentiate what you're offering your clients because it's going to be included with their policies. Now, if you're Justin and you want to know about that index selection, you click on the index selection toggle and you can see those specific indices. And if you click on more, you can get the illustratable rate, you can see caps, you can see floors, you can see participations, you can see all of that information. All right, so now that we've gone through those, I don't think I have anything else in the Q&A. You can just click share quote to client. I can either share the quote or I can jump right into the application. Once I do jump into sending out that quote, this is what your clients would see. And so they'll see this quote with the highlights as well as at the bottom, your contact information, so they can follow up with you if they need to. And then if you start the application, we simply notify the client, hey, the application started. And then there's going to be one of 4 scenarios to come out of this application process. And so let's see, I love just using agents' names so it feels real, like we're all just hanging out. Okay, I'm going to go through. So first, Felipe says, hey, Marty, I've gone through this final application. I've put in your banking information. I'm going to click continue and we're going to submit it. Once we submit it, Felipe says, hey, Marty, got great news for you. I got confetti in the message. You got approved with no changes. You're good to go. So that's scenario 1. Scenario 2 is Julia says, so Marty, you got an approval, but with a few changes. And so hold on one second. You got instant approval with a few changes. Let's adjust your offer. We want to lower your premiums, for instance. We can make those changes and then we can submit it. We're good to go. I see one question. Are there banking companies that aren't accepted? There aren't banks that aren't accepted, but we don't accept the express. I'm drawing a blank. Help me here, Hayden. What's the Social Security payment? Yeah, we don't accept direct express, persistency reasons, but there aren't any specific banks to answer your question that I am aware of that we don't accept. And then the illustration rates, you can just log into your portal to see specifically, they literally change each month. I can show you at the end of the slides in the appendix what they were as of last month, but they get updated as the market goes up, things like that. But we do accept online banks. If you can pay ACH, we can make it happen. So you don't have to worry about that right now. Now let's see. I then say, Kamani, what's the deal? And she says, unfortunately, we can't actually give you coverage for this product, but fortunately we have a wonderful product that we can get you over to. And that's the TrueStage Advantage Whole Life I mentioned earlier, where you do have the opportunity to, reroute me over to TrueStage, and also you can get, as the agent, 30 points more than you previously could. Let's see. I see a question, but I'll get to that after I get one more scenario, which is Quentin saying, Marty, there must have been something that the underwriting team wanted to take a closer look at. And so they're going to keep me and you informed of what the next steps are. But in this rare scenario where there is manual underwriting required, we're going to give you all of the info of what's going on with the application so that you and your client will be informed on what's going on. All right. You are not able to, so Felipe asked, can we change the interest rate for the non-guaranteed illustration? At the moment now, no, we just have what the illustratable rates are built in, because this is something that there's, it's very regulated over, what historical returns we've had. And since there are multiple questions on the rates, I will show you at the end, I'll show you the overview of what all those are, because I see that's a popular question and I want this to be as helpful as possible. But those are the 4 scenarios: instant approval, no changes; instant approval with changes, a decline, but a reroute to TrueStage; and then finally the rarest, manual underwriting. And so that's the whole scheme of the 4 different outcomes that could take place. Just to put a bow on things, the resources that we make available, we've got consumer brochures that are very helpful for if you're talking to someone who has no idea what an IUL is. You simply can make use of the tools that we have here. As you see on the bottom right, positioning this against a 401k or an annuity or a CD just makes it so that someone can anchor on what are the offerings that an IUL brings that they might not be able to take advantage of with those other investment vehicles. And then, of course, the policy highlights that you get from the illustration are wonderful tools to send over to your client. In terms of agent resources, you've got the agent guide that I provided a short link to, and then you've got updated underwriting guidelines. You've got one-pagers if you're trying to use this as a recruiting tool you can take advantage of, and all of this is inside your agent portal. Just go to resources, and then IUL will be waiting on you. With that being said, the main points I wanted you to take away is you can focus on selling, not trying to wrangle software. You can make this an instant sell anywhere with great comp headed your way, paid daily. You have the benefit of offering this to clients that are looking for higher face amounts, but still want that quick and easy experience. You've got no cost riders with those living benefits that we know agents need and clients really want. And then this has the backing of a company that for over a century has been doing exactly what your clients are hoping for in terms of that financial strength. And so really the call to action that I've got for you is log into your portal, run a quote today, and you can see the experience for yourself. And so with that, that formally concludes the presentation, but I do have a slide in here for you on what those rates look like. So you can take a moment to see what the caps, floors, participations, and illustrations look like. And then I will hand it back to you, Hayden.
All right, perfect. Well, that was super helpful.